Welcome back to Elemental Yoga. Today we're going to be doing a Yin Yoga style class. This is also an excellent style of class to take for your post-fitness workouts. Now, don't forget that before we begin to always remember to read that description below for any tips, any reminders, or explanations. Now, to get started, we're going to start laying on our backs, and we're going to bring our soles of the feet together, letting the knees drop apart in our butterfly legs. So come into that starting position here. We want to also make sure that our hands are down by our sides with the palms turned up. That way our shoulders remain rotating open. Just allow your body to rest against that mat below, and with a few gentle blinks, have the eyes closed. And just allow yourself a moment of breathing that natural breath, giving yourself the chance to arrive on the mat and arrive in your space. Be aware of how your heart rate is beating. Be aware of the breath, and are you breathing still really fast? Or are you already breathing nice and smooth? This will just allow you to understand where your body might be at in this moment, and we can help work towards slowing that heart rate down or slowing the breath down. Because the more calm our breath is, the deeper we can get our breath. A lot of times we can get deeper into stretches. We bring ourselves more into the present moment. We become simply just more aware. So when you're ready, begin to lengthen the breath, taking nice long inhales and long exhales. Really feel with every inhale the stomach, the body expanding and rising up as you fill it with that air. And every exhale, the body deflates, the body relaxes for that moment. Breathe in positivity. Breathe in contentment. And exhale out anything that no longer serves you. Release any of that tightness or pressure within you. And just continue to follow that breath. Be aware of where your mind is at. And if it wanders every once in a while, that is okay. But we want to acknowledge when our mind wanders, so we continue with that practice of pushing the thought aside and coming back to the breath. Really try to keep our focus there. And gently bring the knees back together, straightening the legs down the mat for a moment there. As you wiggle your fingers and the toes, just bringing some of that physical sensation back to the body. Take one last deep inhale through the nose and release through the mouth. With a few blinks, let the eyes open up. And start by bringing that right knee towards the chest. Hug it nice and tight. Even try to draw that right knee towards the outside of the body and then towards that underarm. Really just starting to open up our hip in different ways. Bringing the knee back to the center, draw little circles with the knees, making sure to go in both directions. Switch it up just to keep the balance throughout that hip. And stopping in the center, let that right knee drop over to the left just for a gentle twist. We're only starting to warm up our bodies, so you don't need to force anything. If you find that the low back especially is tight, don't push it. Just allow that knee to drop. Still trying to feel though that right shoulder towards the mat. And lifting that right knee back up, straighten it down the mat, bringing the left knee to the chest. Hug it nice and tight, and then try to draw that left knee outside the body and towards that underarm. Bringing the knee back to the center and draw those circles with the knee, remembering to still go in both directions, keep that balance within our bodies. And then stopping in the center, let that left knee drop towards the right. Again, just another gentle twist. Already becoming aware of the body, aware of where it's tight, anywhere that might be sore, or if you have any injuries, really notice that. Acknowledge it, and this way we can respect that throughout our entire practice. Bringing that left knee back up, right knee also comes to the chest. Hug the knees nice and tight, and then begin to either roll to one side or rock back and forth till you come up to that comfortable cross-legged seated position. Sitting nice and tall, we want to start by bringing that right ear to the right shoulder. Right hand over to the left ear and just tug down gently. Just starting with that nice neck stretch, of course trying to rid any tension there because we tend to hold a lot of unwanted tension in our necks, so we always want to make sure that we release that. Really feel that left shoulder sinking down away from the ear, and to deepen it a bit, try bringing that left hand behind the back, still sinking that left shoulder down. You might feel a nice tug right into that shoulder. Still be making those nice deep breaths, allowing the breath to really open up the neck. And release, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder, left hand over to the right ear, and again, tug down gently. Feeling that right shoulder this time sinking away from the ear. And if you want to start deepening it, take that right hand and reach it behind the back. Still sink that right shoulder down, feel that stretch, and really breathe to it. Start breathing to that area, feel it relaxing before you get that nice deep stretch. And release. Bringing both arms out in front, you're going to cross the right arm over the left, trying to cross them past that elbow. Start to wind the arms around one another. To do that, your right arm shoots down as your left arm shoots up. And try to touch either the palms together, and if you can't, no worries, just even touch the backs of the hands wherever they can reach. Relax the shoulders. Try not to hug them up by the ears. Keep them depressed. And then when you feel ready, start to lift those elbows up, almost trying to get them in line with the shoulders. But again, don't rise the shoulders up with the elbows. Just try to work with just the elbows there. And that's how you start to feel that nice tug through the neck, the shoulders, even towards the back where your shoulder blades are. And release. And of course, this time we're going to bring that left arm over the right. Wind the arms around one another, just touching the hands where they can. Relax those shoulders. Lift the elbows when ready. A few nice deep breaths. And release. Give your arms a little shake. Then you're going to bring the right arm beside you on the mat. Inhale that left arm up and exhale as you reach to the right side. You can always take your gaze to the ceiling. If you have any neck issues or arthritis in the neck, just keep your gaze forwards. Really feel that left hip sinking down towards the mat as you reach over to that right side. That way we're really also actively trying to open up that side body, still remembering to breathe, really allow those deep breaths to open and expand those ribs. Lifting yourself back up, left hand to the mat beside you, inhale, right arm comes up, exhale, reach over to that left side. This time you're feeling that right hip sinking down as you reach to the left. Again, you can take your gaze to the ceiling, continue to breathe. And lifting yourself back up, step the feet in front of you and just rock the knees a little side to side. We just want to start to loosen up the hips a bit, continue to warm them up. Even step the feet further apart and again rock them side to side, pressing those knees down when they reach that center. And then stopping in the center, come back to that cross-legged position. If you find that your hips are still really tight, remain in the cross-legged for this next pose. If not, we're going to bring one shin a little bit more in front of us on the mat. Take your other shin and try to stack it right on top. Again, if your hips are tight, you will still get a very similar stretch remaining in that cross-legged position. It's one step at a time. So whichever one that you're in, you're going to start to walk those hands out in front of you, lowering that chest down towards the shins. You can allow the neck to relax or gaze on the floor in front of you. That way we're not cranking our necks up. Try to still keep that flat back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. We're always just reaching from that chest. One more nice breath. And begin to lift your way back up. And whether you're in cross-legged or in what we call our fire log, switch up the legs. So cross-legged, you just want to switch it so the opposite leg is now in front. And same with fire log, you're going to stack the opposite shin on top now. Again, bring those hands in front and just walk them forwards, lowering that chest down, only as far as you need to go till you feel that light tug, that gentle discomfort that every stretch will give you, but especially if you don't feel warm enough yet or you still feel any sharp pinches or pains, ease up, don't push past that point. We're still in a bit of our warm-up, so we want to take our time and be easy. Injury prevention. And begin to lift your way back up. Just give your legs a little shake out in front of you. Loosen everything up. And then you're going to bend your knees to one side and come right up to that neutral tabletop. Wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Starting with the wrist shifts. So you want to feel like your whole hand, all fingertips are glued to that mat. They do not lift up. On your first inhale, start to shift your weight forward so the shoulders start to pass the wrists. As you exhale, shift the weight back so the shoulders pass the wrist again. Inhale, come forwards. Exhale to the back. Continue to follow your breath as you shift forwards and backwards, still making sure that your palms, every finger is glued to that mat nice and flat. This will just work to warm up our wrists, open them up a little bit as well. And then coming back to center after your next exhale. From here, we're gonna still do the same thing, everything glued to the mat, but you wanna shift side to side. So as you inhale, start to shift to the right, let those shoulders pass the wrists. And exhale, shift to the left. Continue to follow that pattern. Every inhale, shift to the right. And every exhale, shift to the left. Making sure on this one that your pinkies and thumbs stay glued to the mat. Those are the ones that tend to start lifting up here. After your next exhale, just come back to that center. We're gonna tuck the toes underneath and sit back on those heels for a nice toe stretch, Achilles tendon, even the base of our feet, that nice arch, you wanna open it up. Just give your wrists a bit of a shake. They might feel a little weak, but you will get that strength back. Maybe even interlock the fingers, roll them around a bit. And then coming back to our tabletop. On your next inhale, start to sink that stomach towards the mat, tilting the head and pelvis up. As you exhale, reach high from that mid-back, tucking the head and pelvis under. Inhale, sink, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And exhale, rise, pushing those shoulder blades apart. Continue to follow that breath. Keep going through those movements, allowing our backs to warm up, our spine to gain a bit more mobility. Really notice any sensations, any feelings that are happening. And make sure that you're really connecting with the breath as well. When your stomach sinks to that lowest point, you should be at the top of the inhale, and your mid-back reaching the highest point at the end of every exhale. And after your next exhale, come back to that neutral tabletop. From here, as you inhale, you're going to start to open your chest to the right and reach that right arm all the way up. Always try to twist with more of your back rather than trying to torque your shoulder. Exhale, release back to the mat. Inhale, open your chest to the left, reach that left arm all the way up. And exhale, left hand comes down. Inhale to the right. Exhale, come down. Inhale to the left. Exhale down. Inhale to the right. Exhale down. Last inhale to the left. And exhale back down. Take your right arm and weave it underneath the left, bringing that head and shoulder down towards the mat. Here, if this is enough, just remain here, opening up the back of that shoulder blade. But if you do want to add a bit of a twist and take it a bit further, reach that left arm up and wrap it behind the back as if you're trying to grab a hold of that right thigh. Always, again, feel like you're twisting with more of your back. Don't torque that shoulder where it doesn't want to go. Just resting here for 2 deep breaths. And begin to slowly unravel from the pose, lifting your way back up. And of course, we're going to take that left arm, weave it underneath the right, head and shoulder down towards the mat. If you'd like to deepen it, reach that right arm up, start to wrap it behind the back, trying to grab a hold of that left thigh. Begin to unravel, making your way back up to that neutral tabletop. Stepping our right foot out behind us, tuck the toes under and push that heel down. Just getting a nice light stretch through the foot all the way into our calf. You can always pulse here if you prefer, see what works best to kind of warm up that area and get a stretch, or you can just remain static. Begin to roll to the inside edge of that right foot. Reach that right arm up and just hold in a nice supported side plank. Be squeezing the glutes, pushing the hips forwards a bit as you open that chest. If you do want to take it a bit deeper and work with your core here as well, activate that core and slowly start to lift that right leg away from the mat, eventually getting it parallel to the mat below. You still want to feel those hips nice and open. If you find your balance is a bit off today, just even practice maybe tapping up the leg. Get used to where your balance is at and just test it out a bit. And then bring that right hand back down to the mat, leaving your right leg where it is. And then we're going to pick up the right foot, cross it over the left, untuck the toes and slide it further. Walk those hands out in front and bring your forehead to the mat. Begin to lift yourself back up to that neutral tabletop. This time stepping that left foot out behind us, tuck the toes under, push that heel down. Again, you can always pulse if that worked best or just remain static. Roll to the inside edge of that left foot, reach that left arm all the way up. Again, squeeze the glutes. Hips forwards a little bit as you open that chest. Working a bit with the core if you prefer. Activate that core. It's like you're sucking the belly button to the spine as you start to lift that left leg away from the mat, getting it eventually parallel to that mat below. You can always tap that foot up again. Just practice to see where your balance is at, or remain in the supported side plank for now. Bringing that left arm back to the mat, left leg stays where it is, and then we cross it over the right, untuck the toes, slide it further. Walk the hands out in front, and bring the forehead to the mat. And begin to lift your weight back up to that neutral tabletop. From here, we're going to step that left foot forwards between the hands and then begin to drag that back leg further away till you're in a nice low lunge. Here we want to make sure that the front knee is directly over the ankle and that your right hip is sinking down a little bit. That way we're not lifting it up and just leaning to our left side. Allow the neck to relax. And again, you want to find that light discomfort, that gentle stretch, nothing too painful, any sharp pinches, any sharp pains. Ease up on that pose. If you do want to deepen it here, you can always drag that back leg further away from the body, or you can place your hands on the knees, lift the chest up, and let those hips sink down towards the mat. But whatever one you choose, you want to be able to hold that one this entire time. So don't choose something that feels like you are pushing it too far where you're going to need to come back to this starting point. Bring that focus to the breath as soon as you get into that pose, that part that you want to hold. Feel every inhale, every exhale. On every inhale, feel that you're breathing in that energy, you're refreshing the body. And every exhale, you're relaxing the body. That way, the lower half of the body that you're trying to get that deep stretch, the muscles are letting go of the tension. Allow the body to sink. Holding here for a few more breaths. Keep an eye on your shoulders. Make sure that you're not hunching them up by the ears. Don't create any of that unwanted tension. One more nice deep breath. And then begin to heel toe that left foot outside of the left hand. Still working with our hips here. If this is enough, you may just want to hold here. But to take it a bit further, you're going to roll to the outside edge of that left foot, allowing the left knee to drop towards the mat. Make sure that you're centered so that way that left hip is sinking down as that right hip is lifting up. We don't want to be leaning yet to that right side. Holding here for a bit. Just allow those hips to open up. Really try to relax that left leg. Let it drop. If you do have very open hips and you are finding this very easy, then to deepen it, take that left hand, place it on the left knee, press it down as you twist open to that left side, really letting those hips sink. Again, just find where you're at and remain there. Sometimes one week will be different from the other, just all depends on where our bodies are at or what we even just simply did that week. But be aware and listen to the body. Gently start to lift that left knee back up and heel toe it back between the hands. Drag that back leg a bit closer so we can switch up the feet, bringing that left leg back. Right leg forwards between the hands. Drag that back leg further away from you, getting into that comfortable low lunge where we're gonna hold it. So remember, don't go pushing it too far into the more active low lunge if you don't think you can hold that position. Listen to the body, don't over push. Make sure that front knee is directly over the ankle. Feel that right hip sinking down just a little bit. Sorry, the left hip sinking down just a little bit. That way we aren't opening up to the opposite side. Follow that breath. Always come back to the breath once you settle into the pose. Deepen the breath. Deepen every exhale. Use that to release any heaviness or any tension that you're feeling within you. Breathe it out. One more nice deep breath. And then begin to heel toe that right foot outside of the right hand. Again, if this is enough, just remain here. If you do want to start taking it a step further, roll to the outside edge of that right foot, letting the right knee fall open to the mat. Make sure you're centered by trying to drop that right hip down and lift that left hip up. Holding here a bit. Again, if you do want to take it even further, especially if you do already have really open hips, take that right hand, place it on the right knee, and press down as you open that chest to the right, letting those hips sink. Just holding where you're most comfortable, taking those few deep breaths. And slowly begin to lift that right knee back up, heel toe the foot back between the hands, drag the back leg a bit closer, making it easier to bring that right knee back. From here, you're gonna open up your knees, sit back on your heels, reach the arms forwards for child's pose. Bring that forehead to the mat. Making sure here that you do remain a bit active, so you still wanna feel those shoulder blades sinking down the back as the crown of the head reaches forwards. Actively be lengthening that spine. Feel your chest sinking down towards the mat. Always following that breath. A moment to rest. And begin to start to walk the hands towards you, lifting your chest up. And you're going to come back to that neutral tabletop just for a moment, so that way we can step our feet behind us in a nice high plank. Lower the hips down to the mat and then untuck the toes so we go right into an upward facing dog. Make sure that your shoulders are rolling back, squeezing those shoulder blades together so that way we can puff our chest, and always be squeezing the glutes. Make sure that you're squeezing your glutes so that way it protects and activates that low back for you. Just holding here for a nice few breaths. Every inhale, be puffing that chest, lengthening the stomach. Let it get that nice opening feeling, even up to the diaphragm. And then begin to lower your chest down towards the mat so you can bring your hands a little bit wider and a bit more in front of you. From here, again, we're gonna straighten our arms up, puff that chest by rolling those shoulders back, and squeeze your glutes again. From here, you're gonna start to twist to that left side using that right shoulder as if you're reaching it toward the left, and then puff that chest. This way we get a nice stretch a little bit more towards the side of our right side of the stomach. Coming back to the center, begin to twist by taking that left shoulder, trying to reach it to the right, and then puff that chest. Coming back to the center, we're gonna go through this one more. Start to reach that right shoulder over to the left, and then puff that chest. Coming back to the center, reach that left shoulder to the right, puff your chest once more. And coming back to the center, lower that chest down. Reach the left arm out to the side, and you're gonna start to roll your chest open in the opposite direction. So your arm is reaching to the left, your chest is rolling open to the right. This way we get a nice shoulder stretch. Depending on how tight your arms are, you might feel it down even your biceps to your forearms. Here for extra support, or to even help you open up wider, you can take that right foot, the top foot, bend the knee and place the sole of the foot to the mat. Gently rolling your way back to the center, left arm comes in, and of course we're gonna reach that right arm out to the side, roll the chest open in the opposite direction to the left. Again, you can always bend that top knee, place the sole of the foot to the mat, just for a bit of extra support. Again, still in every pose, use those exhales to try to really release any tension in the body, relaxing even the arms right now, so you can get that deeper stretch there. Begin to roll your way back to the center. Use those hands to lift your weight back up, and we're gonna sit back in another child's pose. And slowly walk those hands towards you, lifting your way back up, coming back to that neutral tabletop. From here, you're gonna drop your weight to one side so you can simply kick those feet out in front of you. We're gonna bring the soles of our feet together, knees drop apart, sit nice and tall, holding onto your feet. Here, you wanna make sure that you're squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then on your next exhale, reach from that chest forwards and down. We're gonna add a little bit of movement here, so as you inhale, you're gonna lift back up, bring the knees together, and exhale, push the knees down, reach that chest forwards. Continuing every inhale, lift up, knees together, exhale, knees apart, pull yourself down. Do this about 5 times, and on that last exhale, just hold our bound angle pose. This just will help warm up the muscles a little bit, allowing ourselves to possibly take it a little bit deeper today. When you get to that last exhale and you're holding the pose, still remember that you're reaching from that chest forwards and down. You can always use the elbows to help press down on the shins a little bit. Trying to keep that nice flat back, still be squeezing those shoulder blades together, and let the neck relax. Don't crank it up by looking forwards or towards the ceiling. Few breaths, and notice the breath here and how it helps with the pose. Every inhale, if you're taking a deep inhale, you're filling the body with air, so you might find yourself lifting up a touch, and that's why on the exhale, since we're clearing our body of air and making space, we sink that little bit further. Always use the breath to help create that space for you. Every inhale, exhale, relax, sink a bit further. And you'll notice what a difference just the breath alone will help you do. Just a few more breaths here. Begin to lift your way back up, bring those knees together, and then we're gonna open up our legs, bring our feet as wide apart as they can for a nice split stretch here. So once you wiggle them as wide as they can go, make sure that your toes and your knees are pointing upwards so they don't roll in. So they're pointing up. We wanna tip our pelvis up as if we're trying to stick our butts out behind us. This will help us keep a flatter back, and it also allows us to reach forwards more with our chest. On that next exhale, as always, reach from that chest forwards and down. Your hands are just there for light support. They're just there to kind of hold you in place. We don't want to be reaching with our arms, because if we do, we tend to round our backs. And of course, we want to avoid that. We don't want to compromise our posture right now. So your hands are just resting on the mat, letting that chest hang forwards. If you do have any knee issues here, or really solidly tight hamstrings where you're feeling the tug right underneath the knees, just simply micro bend the knees a little bit and then lean forwards. This will help direct the stretch towards the mid hamstrings, especially again if they're really tight or if you have any knee injuries. Take that option. Always focusing on that breath. The inhales make you feel refreshed. The exhales give you that moment to relax. Just a handful of breaths here. And on your next breath, start to lift your way back up and just take your time wiggling those knees back together, back to the center. And then we're going to come lay nice and flat on our backs on the mat. Keep the knees bent so the soles of the feet are resting on the floor. You're going to take that right foot, cross it over the left thigh, and use your right hand to help push that knee open. We want to always, during this entire pose, have that right knee pushing open. If this is enough, remain here, but to take it a bit further, bring that left knee towards the body. You're going to weave that right arm through the hole that you created and grab a hold of your left knee or even underneath the knee on the thigh. You want to make sure that you feel as that left knee comes towards you, again, that right knee opens away from you. That way your hips are still a bit parallel to one another, and we're really working to open up the back of our hips now as well. Depending on where you're tight, you might feel it through the glutes, even to the hamstrings. But just acknowledge that. Notice where you might be feeling a little sore. As always, any pains, ease up on the pose. We just want to get that nice stretch. Make sure your upper body is starting to relax. Don't be holding those shoulders away from the mat as if we're trying to round our backs or lift our necks. Keep the shoulders at ease. Two more breaths. And gently start to release from the pose, stepping that right foot down, and of course taking our left foot, crossing it over the right thigh. Left hand helps push the knee open. And to take it a bit further, bring that right knee towards the body as you feel that left knee pushing away from the body. Keep those hips parallel to one another. Left hand weaves through that hole that you created and grab a hold of that right knee or underneath the knee on the thigh. Make sure that you're starting to relax that lower half of the body, allowing yourself to take the stretch even further. And this is why this type of yoga, this style of yin, or these poses and the way we want to relax into them are great for post-fitness. Because you've already finished working on your body, strengthening the body, all the muscles, that this is our time to relax the body and get the stretch so that way we prevent extra burn or soreness the next day, injury prevention, we don't pull as many muscles or have burnout and give up on our next workout. This will help keep that balance in the body. It will help increase our range of motion for next time. It's just a beautiful style. A few more deep breaths. And begin to slowly release from the pose, stepping that left foot down. Just give your knees a bit of a rock from side to side. And coming back to center, you're going to bring the knees to the chest and hang on to them nice and tight. Start to open the knees apart from one another and pull the knees down as if you're trying to pull them down towards your underarms. I'll rotate so you'll be able to see this pose a lot better from this angle. So you're opening up the knees and pulling them down towards the underarms. Then begin to lift the feet into the air, knees at that 90-degree angle as much as you can. Reach the arms up and grab a hold of the outside edges of the feet. If you find that this is too difficult and you can't, you can always grab a belt or a strap and wrap it around the feet and hang on to it that way until you are able to reach the outside edges. From here, first things first, relax those shoulders. Then you want to use that grip that you have on your feet to pull the knees even further down towards the mat and then begin to open them apart from one another for our happy baby. Just holding here. Remember, every exhale is to breathe out pressure, breathe out heaviness within you. Allow the body to just open up. Try to feel the back of your hips sinking towards the mat. That way we aren't lifting them up in the air. We want to still try to keep that back flat to the mat. This allows us to really just focus on our hips. Gently bring those knees together, release the grip, and hug the knees to the chest. Maybe just rock a little side to side, give that low back a bit of a massage. And then stopping in the center, place your feet to the mat, and you're going to cross the right leg over the left. Bring the knees back to the chest and allow them to start to fall to that left side in a nice deep twist. Open the arms up or keep the elbows nice and bent at their cactus arms, that 90-degree angle. Try to feel that right shoulder still sinking towards the mat. If this is just too deep or any back issues here, just simply uncross the legs and keep them stacked on one another. So find what works best for you. To ease up the pose, just push the knees away from the body. To deepen it, bring the knees towards the chest. You can always further it by bringing that left hand to the knees and pulling them down. But again, be aware of how your body is feeling. Notice any sharp pinches or pains. Ease up if you have to. And even come back to that breath and notice that, of course, in a twist, we're limited on how deep we can take those breaths, so they will be shortened, but you can still keep it nice and smooth. We want to be in control of that breath. Taking your time, begin to lift those knees back to the center, unravel them, and then of course we're going to cross that left leg over the right, bring the knees back towards the chest, and allow them to slowly fall to that right side. Opening the arms back up, try to make sure that that left shoulder is still sinking towards the mat. You might even notice here that when you get into the twist that works best, that one side may have felt tighter than the other. Usually if you're doing this on your own, make sure that you hold that tighter side longer. This way we can eventually bring more balance back to the body. It also might give you a bit of insight into daily activities and what you might be doing or how you might be sitting even that's contributing to that side being tighter. Focus on that breath, awareness to the body. Gently, gently lift those knees back up. Uncross the legs and just make sure you're centered to the mat. Hug the knees to the chest, nice tight squeeze, and even try to bring your forehead to the knees. Curl up to that tight, tiny little ball to help neutralize the spine. And relax the neck, rock a little side to side. And then from here, you're going to straighten your arms and legs down the mat. Remove the glutes from underneath you. Palms rotating up. Tuck the shoulder blades under. And allow your eyes to softly close for Shavasana. Take maybe 1 or 2 nice deep breaths because we were in those twists. We want to expand our chests again. And then just come back to the natural breathing. No need to strain it any longer. Allow thoughts that pop up to just come and go. Let them float by. Letting our mind and body just be. We get to take this as a nice moment of rest. A time to simply pause and feel. If your mind has wandered off, come back to that breath. Every inhale allowing you to feel more light and calm. Every exhale, your body just feels nice and stretched out and at ease. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Reach the arms up above the head for a nice long body stretch. Leaving the right arm where it is, bring the left hand to the stomach. Bend at the knees and gently roll to that right side, resting for a moment in the fetal position. Just giving yourself a chance to feel back into your body, coming back to that present moment. And still keeping eyes closed, use those hands to help lift your way back up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position, sitting nice and tall, palms up over the knees, roll those shoulders up and down the back. And take one deep inhale through the nose and sigh through the mouth. Bring your hands together at heart center, and with a few gentle blinks, let the eyes open up. Namaste.